Our last yo-yo was for the absolute beginner with features that made it perfect for this purpose. But now, it's time for us to put one foot forward so that we can. And our next yo-yo represents a step above basic. Oh yeah, welcome to part 2. This is the Definitive Yo-Yo and I'm simply Mike. And today we're featuring yo-yos for new players, a 6-part series. Today's yo-yo is actually a re-release of a yo-yo that came out a little over 20 years ago. This is the Freehand 1 by Duncan Yo-Yos, the full yo-yo review of course. But funny thing happened to me on the way to making an all-black version. This Failure is Unknown came out, so this is actually the Freehand 1 Unknown Edition yo-yo review. Get at me, son. Can we admit that dollar store yo-yos ain't sexy? And yo-yos in general are opposed to the world of technology that we live in now. Despite being opposed, yo-yos have advanced in recent years, and the counterweight is how that advancement has been manifest. The Freehand and its aluminum counterparts are called the first counterweight yo-yos. I don't know if that's true, but what I do know is that it's good for 5A, and there are a lot of them, like the intro levels, the classics, the Zero, the Freehand Pro, the next gen, our aluminum joints, and finally, the titaniums. I couldn't begin to tell you what the subtle differences are between models, so don't ask. But what I will say is that the Freehand 1 seems to be the one that most people gravitate towards. And this is how we can take the caps off. Warning, this will be loud. So I started with this yo-yo and ended up with this. And then my second one was going to be all black. And what you'll need is a bicycle pump, some tape to make an airtight seal, and a set of pliers to remove the axle. And here we are. And let's admit it, that's pretty fire. As a step above basic, we have some contemporaries that we can put alongside our Freehand 1. Like the Shooting Star, the Atom Smasher, the Rebrand by Rain City Skills, and the Punk that will be released soon. The Crystal by Magic Yo-Yo, and the Mild Hybrids, all of which are nice. But, hey, that unknown version speaks to me, daddy. The yo-yo itself is dope, but that clear counterweight, oh man, that is an inspired choice. I definitely have to learn some 5A, because this is the favorite of the Instagram crowd. Last video, we talked about the yo-yo allowing you to cover the basics, and this yo-yo allows that even more so. I'll explain why in a second, but here we are knocking out the basics on this. It is responsive, so that is something that you have to contend with. But before we get into the whys and wherefores, let's check the stats. This is still a basic yo-yo, but it is way better suited for what we're doing. However, it's not really suited for the most advanced tricks. Now, what makes this a superior yo-yo? Now the Fizz is a dope yo-yo, but its primary focus is on thread it and forget it. Not much to do as far as maintenance or anything like that. The Freehand, on the other hand, is not quite full size, but still modern enough. We have response pads in here, a longer axle, and we got a decent sized bearing. Not quite industry standard, but it does get us in the vicinity. It may seem insignificant, but those touches allow for a bit more wiggle room when you're doing some tricks, making it much easier to play with. Now, you can swap out that bearing and make it unresponsive, but I don't recommend it. Otherwise, how would you get that maximum dramatic impact? Overall, a much better experience than the Fizz, but it's still got a few limitations. It's plastic, so there's a little limitation in the spin department, but not too much. And if you really want to go in with both feet, you might want to upgrade. This is definitely a step above basic, but there are a couple of steps further that we can go. This, however, is a really, really good yo-yo. Even though I'm late to the party, I am glad I have arrived because this yo-yo is definitely worth it. And that's it. Let's check out what we get into for next time. Now, with both feet firmly placed in the camp of modern yo-yo, we're going to check out this yo-yo, which is about as modern a plastic as you're going to get. The Mojo. That video will be up in just a second. But this has been the Freehand 1 Unknown Edition yo-yo review. Dopeness. For real. And I hope you got your hands on one. If not, oh well. Sorry about that, but that's your fault. Alright, y'all. I'm Simply Mike, and I will check you guys out in the next video. Stay tuned, because it's coming right up.